Hello everybody and welcome back to another video. And way, it's a Doctor Who video, yay, everybody wanted it. So, what I said last video on my room tour is that I'm going to do a recommendation for all my Big Finishes. Which Big Finish would be the best for you to jump on if you're a beginner in Big Finish, if you've got some but don't know where to continue, if you just want recommendations for what to get in terms of if they're good or not, then this video is for you, I guess. And obviously, since we've already done a recommendation video for books and for DVDs, I think it's only fair that we finally do recommendations for Big Finish. So let's do that. Let's get into this video and not waste any more time. So first of all, me personally, how I started off in Big Finish was with a certain audio which I probably shouldn't have started with, I'm going to be honest. It was the Big Finish audio to the death, purely because it was the finale to the 8th Doctor Adventures, and it was the stupidest thing I could have done. Because they kill off two characters. I'm not going to spoil who, I'm going to let you figure that out for yourself. But it's an amazing audio, and it got me hyped to listen to other Big Finishes, but it's not the best one to start with. I'm going to put it out right there. This is the first one I've ever listened to. I actually listened to it when I was abroad, when I was on holiday in Mallorca, which is fun fact for you. I've got some memories attached to that audio, which is cool. As well as that, I thought that it would be a good idea to jump on with Big Finish with a Dalek story, which made sense at the time, but I didn't know it was the finale of the 8th Doctor Adventures. That's the problem that comes down to. I made the mistake of listening to Light at the End to be one of my first Big Finishes. Big mistake. Absolutely amazingly big mistake. It's not a bad audio by any means. I've listened to it since my first experience of it. My first experience of it was, it's terrible, okay? The reason being is they cram so much into it. They cram all eight Doctors, all of the 8 Doctors, no, they cram in 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th and 8th to have their own storyline running through the whole episode. And that is busy, because they also include, let's read them out actually, shall we? They have Leela, Nyssa, Perry, Ace, Charlie, the Master, let's have a look. We have Bob, Vex, Susan, Ian, and Stephen, Vicky, Sarah, Polly, Jamie, Zoe, Joe, Tegan, Turlo, Kevin. They have so many characters in here, and you can't place where everyone is. It's difficult to follow, especially when you're getting used to the format of audio drama, you know? Not the best one to start with whatsoever. It's the worst thing you could do. Because it's not a bad episode. Not now that I've listened to it now. It's not bad. But it's a terrible one to start with. Don't go for Light. Don't do what I did. Don't start with To the Death or Light at the End. Don't do that. Don't do that. Worst way you could start. I'd say, if you're a fan of the 8th Doctor and you want to get into the 8th Doctor Adventures, I'd say start with either Blood of the Daleks or the Zygon Who Fell to Earth. The reason why I say that, first of all, because those are the only 2 adventures that I have besides the finale of the 8th Doctor Adventures. But what I'd say, Blood of the Daleks is obviously the opening to the 8th Doctor Adventures, so it'd be a good jumping on point getting into the series, obviously. It introduces Lucy Miller, which is good. It's a brilliant Dalek story as well. It's really, really good. It's very gripping. Some people don't like it, but I think it's majority like it, so yeah. Zygon Who Fell to Earth, on the other hand, brilliant. It's more of a character piece, really, so if it's difficult for you to follow, if it's difficult for you to follow the audio drama sort of like structure and format, then maybe not Zygon Who Fell to Earth, but it's not a bad one to start with by any means. Especially if you're a fan of the Zygons, you might like it. Maybe start with that one. But then again, if you just want to get into Big Finish and you don't care what Doctor you start with, I'd say maybe go to the monthly range. The only thing that I would say though is they're very pricey. But price aside, if you were to go with a monthly range audio, I would have to recommend, I'd have to say Jubilee, purely because it has a similar storyline to the new series episode called Dalek, and it's easy to follow, you know what's going to happen, it's an easy ride of a story really, it's quite enjoyable as well, so that's what I have to say there. So either Jubilee, I'd recommend highly, I wouldn't recommend Sirens of Time, that's the first Big Finish audio they've ever done, Doctor Who wise, on the monthly range, don't go for that one. It's got 3 Doctors in it, and it's difficult to follow, and it's not the most enjoyable story in the world, in my opinion at least. Definitely recommend Master, especially if you're a fan of the Master and fan of the 7th Doctor, you'll love Master. It's an absolutely superb story. Davros. One might be a good one if you're a fan of Davros, but it's a very Marmite story. Some people like it, some people don't like it. Maybe try the Juggernauts, because that one's... Who's that one written? Who's that one written by? Scott Ian Woodon. I've never heard of him. Yeah, I probably pronounced that name terribly, but anyway. If not that one, then if you're a fan of Remembrance of the Daleks, I'd highly recommend We Are the Daleks, because that one is a very, very good 7th Doctor Dalek story. It's got Mel, actually, and they actually use Mel very well in this story, because sometimes she's very underdeveloped in any story that she's in, but in that one she's brilliant. Eldrad Must Die. Don't let your, you know, suspicions of Hand of Fear steer you away from that episode. That one's phenomenal. The 5th Doctor, amazing. It's just amazing performances from the whole cast in Eldrad Must Die. Apart from that, I'd say the monthly range is something just you should steer clear from in terms of getting into Big Finish, because they're, like I say, they're a bit pricey. It's a 2-hour format as well, so if you're not used to that 2-hour format of Doctor Who stories, the half-an-hour episodes, then I'd say don't go for it, really. If you want to do the 1-hour format and you want something cheaper, 4th Doctor Adventures or 8th Doctor Adventures are the way to go. I promise you that. And plus the 4th Doctor, I highly recommend from the 4th Doctor range, is because the 4th Doctor is generally one of the most popular Doctors, so you're more likely to enjoy him over maybe the 8th Doctor or the 7th Doctor, etc. So what I would recommend from the 4th Doctor Adventures would have to be... I'd say I highly recommend Energy of the Daleks. Has Leela versus the Daleks, finally. Absolutely brilliant episode, that one. Phantoms of the Deep isn't too bad either. That'll be a good one to start with, actually. But I'd say the best ones to start with is go for The King of Sontar, because it's the start of Series 3 of the 4th Doctor Adventures, and it's brilliant. Absolutely fabulous, obviously. It's got John Dorney as the writer. It's just a all-around amazing story. Other than that, I'd have to say listen to The Crooked Man with the 4th Doctor, The Darkness of Glass, Silent Scream is an amazing one, actually, or the Theta Krelos Return to Telos 2-parter. That's a really, really good one. And I know pricing is a big no-no for this set, but if you're not worried about the price of things, if you just want to get it for a good story, I highly recommend the Philip Hinchcliffe Presents box set, because it's my favourite Big Finish release of all time. I absolutely adore it. Both of the stories in here are fabulous. The Ghosts of Growlstead is a 6-parter, 3 hours of a Big Finish audio. The Ghosts of Growlstead is one of my favourite Doctor Who stories of all time, just putting it out there. The Devil's Armada, imagine the Witchfinders episode from Series 11, except done so much better. Absolutely phenomenal box set. 2 of the best stories ever. Such a good set, okay? I promise you. 5 hours of Doctor Who content right here. The Ghost of Growlstead, 3 hours. The Devil's Armada is 2 hours. It's absolutely brilliant story. I'm not even going to lie, it's phenomenal. Absolutely superb. Now, obviously if you're a New Who fan, I would obviously, like I say, go for 8th Doctor or 4th Doctor Adventures in terms of that format. Apart from that, I don't really have that many new series sort of jumping on points. I would have to say, I would highly recommend the War Doctor range. I've only got the first one, but I've been told it's absolutely amazing. Only the Monstrous is one of the reasons why John Hurt is one of my favourite Doctors. It's one of the best things in the world. As well as that, if you were a fan of Derek Jacobi's portrayal of the Master in Utopia, you haven't seen nothing yet. This box set is absolutely brilliant. The Only the Good, absolutely superb set, this one. It's so good. The first episode ends in such a way that gives me goosebumps. The second episode does too, and the third episode is just written beautifully. Absolutely brilliant box set from start to finish. Amazing, absolutely amazing. Can't say anything other than it's amazing. Actually no, if you're a New Who fan, then I'd say Classic Doctor's New Monsters are a great jumping on point, because it's got the monsters of New Doctor Who in it, like obviously the Weeping Angels, the Sontarans, etc. Even though the Sontarans are technically a classic monster, as you can see there, but I think that mean it's like a new version of the Sontarans. Doesn't make too much sense, but anyway. Yeah, so it has the classic Doctors, so it's a good jumping on point for Big Finish. You can get a feel of how the classic monsters are. So the classic Doctors are, rather. But as well as that, it's got the monsters from New Who that you may recognise, so it's a good jumping on point, like I say. Other than that, if you were a fan of Torchwood, then they do have Torchwood audios that you may be interested in. I would say that Torchwood could have been a bit better on the Big Finish, you know, side of things. But if you're a fan of Sarah Jane, there are Sarah Jane audios as well. I don't have any myself, but I've been told the series is really good, so that's another thing. I would have to say the best one to start with would have to be The King of Sontar with the Fourth Doctor. Purely because it's the start of Series 3 of the Fourth Doctor. It's got Sontarans, good way to, you know, got the Fourth Doctor and Leela. What more could you want? It's just a superb story. It's just really good. Oh, and then a last minute thought. Get Nightshade. Don't do anything else. Just get Nightshade. Get Nightshade. Get it. But yes, that'll do it for this video. I hope you enjoyed. I hope this is I hope it was enlightening for you. But yeah, without any further ado, that's it. That's the end of the video. I hope this has opened your eyes to Big Finish. I hope you'll purchase some more Big Finish now. Yeah, that's it. I hope you enjoyed. Goodbye.